Hey guys, hope your week is going great. So for my first video on my YouTube channel, I wanted to kind of talk about one of my favorite plants besides the Monstera deliciosa, which is, the official name of it is the Musa plant, but we all commonly know it as the banana tree. And the one interesting fact about the banana tree is that it's not a tree. How does that make sense? You're gonna ask me now, but it's not a tree. It's considered like to be the biggest herb we have right now on the planet because it creates like a rhizome, the roots, then a pseudostem, other stems, and then the leaf. But it's not an actual stem or a bark as you call it, okay? So it's kind of like an illusion, a plant illusion that it makes you think that it is a tree when it's not. So I'm gonna introduce you my two banana trees right now. This is Anna, the smallest one, and Elsa is the biggest one, which now she has like a new leaf. Let me just move the camera a bit. See this? Yes. And I have them like in two pots. Here is one of Anna, the other one like it's covered by Nora, my Monstera, but I have them like heightened up because they didn't have so much space and I just want to create like a more airy like kind of vibe here in my living room. So for today, we're going to talk about the basic care and steps. We're just going to redo the whole video because I've done a video already for my Instagram profile, but it was very short because I didn't have like the time or all the information I needed to create like the long video that I wanted to make. So we're gonna talk about the sunlight, the watering, the fertilizing, the propagation, anything you need to know on how to take care of these lovely plants. And you know what? You might think that you have banana trees like inside your place. Yes, I do, and there's nothing wrong with that because the most common misconception that people have is that most of the plants that you see outside or in the rainforest, they do not belong indoors. That is like a huge misconception, and I've had this when I was like at the beginning of searching of the banana trees. When something funny happened, we were like in a plant shop and I didn't like this lady very much because I told her that I was looking for some banana trees and if she has like any banana trees that she had to show me, and she was like, banana trees do not belong indoors. Says who? And I was so upset at this point because she had like this specific thinking and specific like perception of how plants should be placed in someone's home that I'm like, you know what? Let's get out of here. I don't like you at all. And you know what? Banana trees belong inside. You can have them indoors. You can have them in pots because they grow like very steadily and very nice. You just need to give them the air in the room like to breathe and you will be pretty okay with it. I have them here and they have this like gorgeous like jungly tropical vibe. This is like the biggest leaf here right now and it's like a pure like fun to have inside your space if you like this whole kind of like tropical vibe that I like too. Okay, when it comes to sunlight around, this is always the first variable you need to think of. So you have to think where banana trees originally come from. They're in the rainforest, a warm and humid environment, very like hot, but still very humid. This is how the rainforest looks like, which tells you immediately that as a plant, it will not do well in a room that has full shade. It won't do well at all. But rainforests have the amazing ability to be very warm and hot for the plants to actually develop and grow, but they have this kind of like airy space and environment and very humidity to keep the plants and the moisture going on. So this immediately tells you that, okay, inside my house, how am I gonna make this happen? You will put them next to a window, which means when you open the window, the breeze comes in, it creates a whole moisture, it brings all the air in for all the plants to be happy anyway. And the direct sunlight, indirect in this case, I will tell you why, it brings out, all the development variables for the plant to grow. So I'm saying indirect light because of this. If you touch the banana trees, and I will show you like a close-up very soon, you will see that it has this baby skin kind of texture and it's very soft. So it can handle the direct sunlight. It is made for that. Up to 6-8 hours, it will be okay. If you do that every day though, have you ever seen banana trees outside? Have you ever seen them, how they look like? They kind of look like a disaster. I don't like it specifically because they're not protected. They either burned, and let alone with the breeze that comes in, because you cannot control it outside anyway, the leaves are always destroyed. So if you have them indoors, which is like the perfect protection for them, and they're near the window, they're getting all the sunlight that they need. They need to be in a bright room when you know specifically that it has light, and all the breeze comes through the window, they will be okay. This is what I wanted to show you. This is how they look like. They're near the window next to my Monstera Deliciosa and my Boccarnea. In the pots, heightened. And yeah, they have this bright indirect light, 6 to 8 hours. They have the breeze when I open the window. And yeah, the new leaf is everything right now. And this is kind of like how they look like. Jungle vibes all the way. It's kind of night here right now because I didn't have the time to film in the morning, but I promise you I will show you how they look like in the morning. Perfect, right? Yes. Can you like make sense how banana trees actually belong inside with you, and that you don't have to think of it that, oh my god, they only need to be outside. Now, if you have a garden, which is perfect, you can have them outdoors. It's perfectly fine, but it's best for you to have this kind of like, space for them when it has this kind of bright light, kind of indirect light, so they can be protected. But at the same time, if you have a space that it also protects them from the breeze, from the strong winds, it's the perfect spot for them, because you will never see destroyed leaves, you will never see burnt leaves, you will never have to prune or cut them all the time. They will be more protected and secluded, which is kind of like how banana trees should be like, because I get really sad when I watch them like outdoors because they're not like protected from anything. And it's too bad because inside, I don't know if you can see this here, they look perfect. They look like super protected. Nothing is like destroyed. They don't have this cuts right here, which is like natural for them to happen. But it's like, why do that to the plant when they can be perfectly protected? So my advice in terms of sunlight, indirect bright light and the humidity, which close to the window, as we told now. And if you have them outdoors, keep it in the space that it has the indirect / bright light for a few hours. And just have this kind of like breeze around them, just let it be windy, but not too much. Not too much. Also, you need to remember that the maximum hours of sunlight that they can handle is 6 to 8 hours. If it's anything anything beyond that, not so good. They might be able to handle it for a few days, but after that you will start noticing that the response to that is like the drooping leaves. Something is not quite right, but you don't know how to place it. That's when you know that something's not going actually correctly. When it comes to watering now, again, you have to think how the plant is. A very high pseudo stem. It's pseudo, it's not actually a bark or a stem. And it has like these very big leaves. This immediately tells you that it needs a lot of hydration and it needs frequent watering, not to the point of overwatering, but it needs the soil to be 100% moist all the time. So you need to keep a very a continuous watering schedule, and you always need to check the soil. If one way to test if you're overdoing it, because it makes it very vulnerable to root rot, is for you to place the fingers in the pot and check the soil. Just don't be afraid. And note for the ladies, I don't have my nails done right now because I had an issue in the summer. You will say, okay, it's easy for you to do it, but I have my nails done. I get my nails done. I still put my nails in the pot. Nothing happens. Nothing's gonna happen if you have this, okay? So don't make fun of us making the nails or anything like this. It can happen if you have your nails done or not. Just a small note, because my friend told me this and I'm like, you can do everything with them. That's the point. Okay, so place your fingers in. If the soil sticks way too much on your fingers and it's too kind of wetted, too muddy. Muddy is the key ingredient here, the key word that you need to actually have in mind. If it's too muddy, you're overdoing it. And what you're gonna do, you're just gonna open the window, you're gonna let the breeze like come in and, you know, take away the extra moisture. You can leave it up to 6-8 hours. If they have this kind of breeze like towards like the pot or the container or wherever you have them, they're gonna be okay. Okay, one extra thing. Since I've been telling you to soil test before watering, let's do a small test, you know, with my banana tree, Anna, right now, the smallest one. Okay, let's do this here. Do you see this? It's moist, not too muddy, just a little bit of soil stuck. It's normal, nothing to be worried about. And yeah, she is moist how she needs to be. She's been watered like 2 days ago, but this is what it means to have the well-drained soil. It doesn't remain muddy, you know, when, you know, after you water it like a couple of days after. Yeah, this is how you need to check it. If it is like this and it's not muddy, you know you have like a very good soil mix for the plant. You get the idea now, right? I love doing these demonstrations because it gives you like a very good perspective. It's not just, you know, plain talk. Keep it like this, you will be fine. That is the thing that you need to do, because root rot, it's not fun. It's not fun for everybody. Nobody likes it, okay? So just keep this in mind. But they need well-drained soil. Okay, what is well-drained soil? Coconut bark soil, for me, is one of the best things you can give to the plant, because it keeps the air circulation in the roots inside, the containers, the pots, everything, and they let the plant breathe. They take the excess water immediately when you water them. You just see the water being absorbed, and it keeps only the necessary water inside it. For me, it's the coconut bark soil is the best well-drained soil that I can have for my plants right now. And I've tested it here. When in every plant here that there is like coconut bark, the plant is doing great. And the watering in so point and so stabilized and so like sure that I'm doing the right thing, that I don't have to, you know, keep thinking about it all the time, or I don't have to be worried so much. When it's not well drained, you will see that the soil in the pot or in the container, it does not get dry at some point. It always stays moist. That immediately tells you that it does not drain too well. It is shit. It is shit. It's not just bad, it's shit. Okay? And immediately what it does is just like it rots the roots from the inside, and then it just brings it up to the surface. And you might not see it immediately. You might, because they're like big trees, you will notice this maybe after a month, and you won't even know that something's wrong with it. So better be safe than sorry. So make sure that you get a well-drained soil. If you go to the plant shop, just tell them for which plant it is. They're gonna tell you exactly what you need to get. Otherwise, if you see coconut soil, anything with coconut in it, it's a great quality, and you need to get it for your own plant. So when it comes to watering, you need to keep this in mind. Well-drained soil and the watering schedule, that you can do it, 2 or 3 days per week if you just, put a little bit of water in it, or you can do it once per week, but really give it like sufficient water, and then you will be pretty much okay with it. But the reason they need this is because they have big leaves and, this stem or bark that they need to keep hydrated. So because they have a lot of work to do, it needs to be steady and stabilized all the time. So you cannot do it once a week and then 2 to 3 days and then 5 weeks next, or this, okay? Keep a schedule in your mind. If it's easier for you to do it twice a week, keep that going. If it is once a week, follow this. Do not make the plant go cuckoo or anything. It's just not worth it, okay? Keep this in mind. It will be great for you to have them, and you will see what I really love when I water the plants, and I notice this, they do this a lot, is that they hydrate the whole leaf, and you know that you're doing a good job with them because they have this kind of like water drop at the end of the leaf when it tells you that the leaf has been hydrated, and they have absorbed the water, everything's okay, it's doing a good job. I will tell you, it's one of the best things you can do, and you will kind of feel like a pride. I always feel like very happy when this happens, because I've noticed this happening. Monsteras, banana trees, Stalicias, Nicolai specifically. But whenever you see this kind of like water drop at the edge of the leaves, you know you've done a fantastic job, because they have big leaves to cover and hydrate, and it's the best thing you can do. And I will tell you, you cannot believe the satisfaction you get out of this. Now, when it comes to the leaves, this is Anna. This is one of the newest leaves she has. Then you need to remember that, like, look, it's very like thin and very like soft, like they're very like baby skin like when you touch them. But do you see like the size of it? It just comes from here and just goes all the way down. So this is what I'm telling you when I mean that the hydration. This is like another leaf that which kind of like describes best the hydration, and this is like the biggest one that Elsa has, which is like quite big, right? So when I say like consistent watering, this is what I mean, because they need to have the constant hydration to keep the leaves hydrated and okay. Elsa is quite big, she needs a lot of water, and this is like the new leaf that comes out now. She needs like very consistent watering. And Anna here, the smallest one, she's bringing out bigger leaves now, and she's actually demanding more consistent scheduling that I had before when it comes to watering. Let's move ahead to the pruning and the propagation. Okay, propagation. Another fact you need to know about banana trees: they are not, they don't have seeds. So you cannot actually take a banana fruit and propagate it and, oh wow, you have a banana tree. No, you cannot cut the whole, stem, leave like another stem like this in a container so the tree can grow. If you cut it, from and live like this kind of distance and you just put it in another pot, it's not going to propagate. You know why? Because it's a virgin plant. It does not have seeds. Yeah, I'm waiting for this long pause, because every time I mention this, everybody's like, what? Yes, they don't have seeds. And I've learned this like today. I didn't know why specifically. I know that they do not have this kind of like easy propagation thing, but I now figured out why. Because underneath the pseudostem there is like a bulb and roots. This is called the rhizome, and you will see like roots coming out of it, which makes the roots of the plant. But unless you go directly to the bottom of the pseudostem and to the rhizome and just cut it with some roots under it, it will never propagate. Ever. If you cut a leaf with a stem, you place it in water, it cannot water propagate, it cannot soil propagate. No seeds, it won't do anything. If you cut the rhizome all the way down, if you have like 2 banana plants, you simply just cut the rhizome and just put it in another pot. But you have to go to the rhizome with the roots and just place it in another container. I find this very funny because, even if you are like a plant person and you know how the propagation works, it gets a little bit confusing. You're like, you know what, I'm just gonna cut a leaf and everything's okay. And you're like, yeah. The cool thing though about the rhizome is that it contains both like the male and the female seeds. So this is where the propagation key lies. So rhizome with the roots in a soil propagation, you will be fine. You can place it in water, but I find this to be kind of redundant because it needs quite a lot of room. So better just put it in the soil. They grow like so fast anyway, you won't even need to put them like in water first of all. Okay, so I know that a lot of people ask about this, and it's just why I cannot propagate a banana tree. That is why. I found it very funny because I know guys how it is. If you know about plants, you know that you can cut a simple leaf, roots come out, you just place it in water, you just put it in soil, everything's fine. But banana tree is like another story, which is, it makes it kind of like, don't you love it more? I love it more because of this. They're my favorites. It's like, ah. Okay, pruning now. Another fantastic thing about pruning is that you need to check if you have the flowering, if you have like the fantastic purple bulb that I'm looking for, but my banana trees are very young anyway, so I have to wait for a long time for it. And you know, you have the flowers, the white kind of red, pink, whatever they are. They have so many colors and so many varieties depending on the banana tree you have. But the common one is kind of like whitish, greeny, yellow thing. And the purple bulb, which is like so beautiful to have. If they have this, you have to cut the tree to the bottom because it's not going to flower anything else. There's only, in this pseudo bark, there's only like a pseudo like flower stalk that comes like in it and just produces the flower that you see, you know, among the leaves. But once they flower, they cannot flower again. So the best thing that I can tell you is that you can cut it down to the floor, like to the ground floor, yeah, and then you can watch it again grow. Now, I know it's extremely hard for you to do it and to think of it, but trust me, they grow so fast, even after 10 or 15 minutes of actually cutting it. You will see like a whitish thing like coming out, which I know it looks weird. It just, you know, there is like the thing that you just pruned, and then you will see something like this coming out of it. It's just like whitish because the pseudostem has to form again, and then you just have a new banana tree. Within a few months it will just grow again. And if you do it now specifically, which is like the growing season, it will be even better because they grow amazingly fast. My example for this is my banana trees, which they have this kind of like civil war between them. When, okay, it started with Elsa here in the back. She had her first leaf when we got her here. This comes out, then Anna comes in the picture, she makes another one. This all happened within a month. Then 2 leaves come out, everything's fine. Next month, Elsa again, another leaf. Another week later, Anna, another leaf. And I'm like, what is going on with you two? This was happening when it was still winter, which is not the growing season technically, okay? But now that it's the growing season, this kind of civil war like between them, it's like a match within 2 weeks time. Another leaf here, another leaf here, then a leaf here, then a leaf here. This happens also with Mastalicias, which is like the cousins of the banana trees, but you get the idea. So I don't want you to worry when you have to prune the banana trees now, because they grow extremely fast. I'm telling you, even after 10 or 15 minutes of cutting it, you will start seeing new growth. Or even the next day and the next day, you will have your banana tree back soon, okay? But if it has flowered, you need to cut it towards the ground. Do not leave like a distance between the pruning, the pruning cut and, the floor. There's no reason for that. Just give the chance for the flower stalk to be again developed, because you know what? Technically, if they flower, they're gonna flower next year as well. But just give them the chance to develop again the flower stalk so they can even produce better like flowering or fruit eventually when the time comes. Okay, I'm under my banana leaves now. I know it kind of looks weird, but it has like a nice green effect here. I like it. And I will show you what you need to do in terms to pruning. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so I just want to show you how I have them here. So this is the pod, this is Elsa, this is the big one. And this is like the pseudo bark stem that I've been telling you, which then brings out the stems and then the leaves. Okay, I'm right here for, at the base of the pseudo bark, so I can tell you a little bit more about the pruning. So if there is like some flowering involved, sorry, I'm fighting here with my rubber plant. Okay, if there's some flowering, you need to cut it like down to here. That's a very good like, cut for you to make, like very snap, very like direct, and just let it be. Because you need to, have the flower stalk, developed again. So just keep it like this. If it doesn't have any flowers and there's like a technical issue, or you just want to prune it, you can just leave this kind of like distance up to here, let me just go the way back. You can cut it up to here or even up to here. So it kind of leaves room, okay? And you will see like there's like a whitish kind of like tissue inside of the pseudo bark, but you will start to see it forms from the center in circles, and then it just goes all the way out. So you will have this kind of development. So no need to worry. I know you will miss your banana tree, but I'm here to make you a promise that it's going to be okay. Now, I've mentioned that I cut some leaves from my banana trees, and I want to show you what I've done and how it is like. And I will start with Elsa, the biggest one, and I will show you the same kind of thing, but for you to get the idea, the distances and what needed to be done when it comes for you to clean some dead leaves, and you just want to have, not to have like awkward cuts, or you know, when the plant looks like really weird. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so the dead leaves were like from this side one and from another side. She had two, and this was because she was in the plant shop and they left her outside, and yeah, not good came out of it. So you just see those, right? So you just pull the leaf from here. Just don't be like too sensitive, just pull it down, whole thing down, and you will see here. Do you see this? I'm gonna do zoom here. Do you see this here? If you cut this, if you just pull it out, you will start to see that this actually goes off, and it just goes all the way down. So let's say that we had to cut these two. You will just pull them all the way down. You just continue pulling, and at some point you will have like to, you know, get a scissors and just cut it. And then you just pull this all the way down, which is what I did. So do you see this kind of like glossy thing that it has now? This is because all the outer surface of the dead leaves came out, because this is a very tight set of leaves. This is why we call it a pseudo bark. Okay, so you go all the way down. Do you see this here? This is where I cut it. So you just go all the way to the edge right here, and you just use this to cut very carefully, because this is the connection with the rhizome underneath, the bulb that I told you in the, you know, previously. So very carefully, just go around it and just cut in small pieces all around the pseudo bark here towards the base. You see this here? It's like, really, did you cut it? Yes, I did, but she's doing so well with it because I was extra careful. It took me 1 hour because I wanted to be very like cautious with it. You cut around it and then you're done. And for my other banana tree, I did exactly the same thing. Let me just come all the way here. So Anna here had the same thing. She had the same cuts. She's very small. She's close to 1 year now. So you can't really see a difference here because I'm telling you, extra cautious. So the other leaf was like here, underneath this one. So I just pulled it out from here, all the way down, you pull it, and then you just cut it around the edges here very carefully. And you have a very glossy, healthy finish to it, which, you know, it kind of like revives the plant and it gives them new energy. So don't be afraid when you have to prune it or you have to pull the dead leaves off, because this renews all the energy and it brings all the glossy touch, and they're very like soft to touch. So you know you're doing a good thing. Basic current steps that you need to have in mind. Now, when it comes to toxicity, they're not toxic. They don't have any kind of like, you know, when you cut them, there's no sap that it can, you know, be allergic to. But I can always suggest for you to wear gloves, because you know what, allergies and plants is a different type of story. I'm not allergic to anything, you might be. If there is kind of sap that comes out, but it's not like really something you should be worried about. You can test it if you want. I've tested it to see, you know what, maybe I am and I don't know it. But there's no like toxicity when it comes to humans or you know, pets or anything. If your pet like bites it, it's not going to be affected by anything. Okay, so keep this in mind, and I think you will be okay when you know, when something like this happens, you know, or with your kids. You might think with some plants, yeah, some plants need to be unreachable, but with your banana tree, nothing's going to happen. No toxicity, know anything whatsoever. So these are the basic care and steps and some details that I wanted you to know about the banana trees. Now, if you have any questions, you can let me know on the comments. If you have any troubleshooting, issues, you can always let me know. I will also put a link for my Instagram profile because I do a lot of troubleshooting there as well. If you have any questions, pictures you can show me, you can actually, send me the messages there. And I will see you next week on my next video, which we're gonna do the Monstera deliciosa, my favorite plant ever, and I will explain why. So I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.